Welcome back to another episode of the Ready Set podcast. My name's Ricky.
My name's Angus.
And I'm John. What's up, guys?
So, boys, there's this thing that's hitting the news recently.
Super controversial.
Super controversial.
Yo, we might get canceled after this.
Please don't cancel us.
It's about Veronica Garcia from Washington State.
Okay.
So,
What about her?
Actually, really close by. She used to be a he.
Okay.
She's in high school. And she did track and field, it looks like. Track and field 400-meter run. Competed in the women's division in Tacoma. Super
Okay.
close by.
Okay.
And she completely obliterated her competition for all female.
So a trans girl is a trans girl?
Yeah.
What, how's it?
yeah,
trans
I
girl
think so.
obliterated everyone on her team.
all her competition.
All her
who-
competition.
who
All her
were-
competition.
Who were non-trans.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And
Is that fair?
is that fair? What do you, she got
Here's
a
the
lot
thing.
of boos after winning.
And when she when she tried to step up on the podium.
So I
Right.
it's always a little bit ill-mannered to boo, right?
Yeah,
But,
Absolutely.
but
Okay.
I could kind of understand the frustration. I'll say it first. I can understand the frustration of
I think it's okay to say that.
with
Because you're trying to sympathize for the crowd. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll be this is a very touchy subject, is that, look, it's unfair because it's definitely fair. Hey, okay, it's not fair that people are booing. All right, let's say that out here.
We're all going to say booing is bad.
Booing is bad, no matter
should
if
never
it's
boo.
unfair or not, or you feel like it's unjustified. Like, you don't boo. It's bad
it's
sportsmanship.
bad for her.
Yes, but then
But I could understand them.
I
Totally get it.
cancel him, not me.
Oh man, it's hot here.
But
No,
honestly,
okay, so I think it's okay. It's because if she was to compete in
The boys
the
division.
boys division, she would be
She'd be beyond last place by over 2.5 seconds.
yeah. So I think being a specific, let's say if you're a male, everyone knows that. Let's say if you put under, let's say a guy and a girl under the same training regimen,
Yes.
same nutrition,
Yes.
same, like, basically everything's the same. Stress levels the same, nutrition's on point, training levels the same. Most likely, there's a very high chance that the guy will gain more strength
Right.
than the girl without drugs. I'm talking about
Genetics.
genetics. It's just
also testosterone,
and
And
testosterone.
testosterone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, without drugs, everything's the same. No, like, enhancing steroids, all that stuff. I think most likely the guy will outperform the girl if they're on the same level, right? If they're both athletic,
Right.
Right.
same coach, whatever. Like, if you do a test, most likely, right? It's just known that guys tend to be a lot more
Physically.
more stronger.
Yeah, the
Due to
testosterone,
genetics.
helps us build muscle and
Yeah.
our bones are thicker.
I think it's just biology. It just comes down to
So Garcia had like
advantage.
advantage because
Yes.
she was like she had a lot of testosterone blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
and-
been a male for most of her life, I would think.
Yeah.
So,
And the thing is that it's so unfair.
So you can't undo that.
You can't undo that. And I think a lot of people back then, they were like, oh, you can be whatever you want. Freedom. You can choose whatever you want to be. But then, and people would always support this, right? Until this started happening more and more. People are like, oh, crap, this is a bit unfair. Like, what's going on? Like, they can't really compete in the same team. But everyone was like voting for this. Everyone really supported this. But now, once it's happening,
Now it's backfiring.
now it's backfiring because people are like, "Oh crap, this is not really fair."
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very unfair. Like, I can just, like, step in the shoes of the competitors. They've
Yeah.
been training their whole lives.
Oh, yeah.
They've been, like, working really hard, and out of nowhere, this person
The
who used to be
sacrifices.
a man comes and beats them, blows them out of the water.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think that's extremely unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beats them up.
Like, imagine this: you're ready for a boxing match, and then Mike Tyson decides to be a girl. Do you want to go against
gonna do?
Mike Tyson?
Like, can you imagine if like LeBron James decides to play in the WNBA?
Oh
Yeah.
Oh my
And then he's like, today I decide to be a woman. And then you're playing against, it's a huge advantage. I would never even have, okay, if I was a female and have to go against Mike Tyson, who decides to be a girl, decides to be a woman, I'd forfeit.
Yeah.
Yo, the game's over. You already know it's over. Like, yeah, I would just be like, yo, this game, I'm done. Like, he can have the belt. I don't care. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get whooped.
Yeah, I won my ear.
Yeah.
Well, let me play some devil's advocate here, because one of the arguments for this is that, like, you know, they're technically a female now. So if they can't compete with the males, they can't compete with the females.
I think they can still compete. Like, if it's like Mike Tyson
Who wants to be a girl?
be a girl, I think he can still compete in the male division. I think it's fine.
Well, like that other example
that's,
that Ricky said, like that Veronica, was it?
Yeah.
Veronica Garcia was 2.5 seconds slower than the slowest time in the men's race. So there's also that, because they're taking estrogen now, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I know there's people that they, you know, if you want to be a female and if you just want to switch over, I think it's totally fine if that's what you truly believe in. But a lot of people do it for the wrong reason. They take advantage of it. Yeah, there's a lot of people are like, oh shoot, I'm not good in this sport, or I can't win. I'm gonna switch over and I'm gonna be number one in this division. And I think that's super unfair. Like, they're just doing it for the wrong reason.
Wait a second. I don't think people are switching genders just for competing.
I think some people do it.
No way. People are doing it, and despite that, their passion is track and field,
Yeah, but
which
if
is
they
why
keep
they're
losing,
competing.
if they keep losing, they're like, well, my passion was to be number one.
It's convenience. It's just
I mean,
convenience that
I
they
think
can't be.
they might not be transitioning because they want to be number one, but they transition and they still want to compete and end up being number one. I think that's probably the scenario. But
I beg to differ.
Like, they're not.
I guess
all Mike
I'm
Tysons.
kidding.
They're not all Mike Tyson trying to be number one at the other league.
Yeah.
But is it viable to start like a whole separate league for transsexuals? Because they're not going to have any money for it. There's going to be no funding.
I mean, I think that would be my solution, because like I just don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I think you have to create a new division for people who are like trans. So at least everyone's on the same playing field.
But there's another issue with that, I think, is viewership.
Yeah.
Because
Like
when you look at sports,
Women's NBA, there's like nobody that watches that. And they're hemorrhaging money trying to fund it for girls to play in the NBA. And it's just like there's like 6 viewers for the entire league.
maybe a little more than that, but they're definitely getting significantly less viewers in the NBA. And if you have a trans league,
Even less.
I predict it being less, but really, honestly, it's hard to say. But I don't want to get canceled. But
Yeah, it's definitely a very touchy subject. But I was kind of talking to a friend about this, and we were saying that this is only happening in the West,
Oh, yes.
in Canada and US,
Right.
and it's not really happening over in the Eastern, like Asia in general, like just a lot of places.
Yeah.
Just don't really do this.
Oh, really? Maybe like Philippines or Thailand?
Like Thailand, Philippines, but they say they're like trans, right? But they're not.
But they know their place.
They know their.
Sorry, I mean, to put really bluntly, like, but to put really bluntly, and
No, they
Please don't
know
cancel me.
they know who they are.
yeah,
Yeah. They're not gonna
milk their athletic ability.
and they don't like say, "Oh, I'm this," and they shove in people's face. They just it's normal for them.
Yes.
But over here, we really like to
Niche.
really like push it on people, right? Even when it's not needed. And I feel like we're pushing it too much. I think it's good for visibility for everyone to know, like, be more aware of this. But when we're really like just like shoving people, it's like religion, right?
Oh,
when,
yeah.
When you get those hardcore religious people like Christians or something, or Catholics, who just shove it down your throat and have a sign saying you're going to hell, I think that's too much.
Right.
And I think sometimes we have people who are so proactive where they're just saying like, you don't accept me who you are. I'm like, dude, man, I don't even care. Like, I just If you're a nice person, you're a nice person.
Yeah, it
That's all I
almost
care.
becomes damaging to their image.
Yeah.
Whatever they're supporting.
Yeah,
honestly.
and I feel like this is a what's those things called? Brain's not working. Shoot, damn it!
What are you trying to say?
Like
Conspiracy theory. Okay, so this is what I think
Okay.
is that the West, we're really pushing this, and we're really trying to influence the East, just because right now, everyone knows China is
number one.
number one, right? China is number one. No, but economically, like they're doing really, really well, right? And in the States,
They are number one. They are.
Yeah, they are number one. And in the States, they're
They've fallen behind.
they're falling back. They're already behind.
They're a third world country right now.
Yeah, and they're in debt, and they can't catch up. And the thing is that I feel like for them to gain power, because they don't really have much power anymore, they start making this whole thing up. They really not making this thing. This thing is real. Okay, let's be real. But they're really pushing it, and they're pushing it on social media, and this is influencing people on the East who. Because they can't really fight like government with government anymore, like power. They have to use the people to revolt over the government.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they basically what I think is they're brainwashing people in the East to really think like, hey, this is the right way to think, and pushing their culture onto them, so they think their government is not good, so they overrule everything. Because I feel like in China, the density population is huge, right? But if let's say the whole country is against the government, it's gonna get overthrown no matter what, right?
That's a very
people are very
spicy
happy.
theory.
Yeah, that's my conspiracy theory. This is why I feel like this is why I think
Very
it's
spicy.
People in China are very happy with their government right now, though.
Yeah,
Uh,
some.
I think they have like ups and downs.
Yeah,
Like,
ups and
during
downs.
COVID, people were like cheering to take down the government and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But maybe right now they're a little bit better.
With that conspiracy theory, what you suggested, I raised you another one.
Okay.
It's the idea that every kid growing up in the 90s or whatever, 80s, were told by their parents, "You're special. You're special." You know about this, right? Like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you're awesome. You're really special."
Talking about
You're unique."
Western.
Yeah,
culture,
Western.
yeah, okay.
Western
You're
kids.
special.
Participation trophy.
Yeah, you're the
Really?
greatest kid. And then as they grow up, they realize that they're pretty fucking normal. They're just like, or maybe even below average.
Damn, did your parents ever say you're special?
No,
Hell
no,
no.
absolutely
Yeah,
not.
I was like,
But
I never
parents-
heard this before.
My parents did the opposite. man.
But then you don't see any like CBC, ABC kids that are transsexual competing in sports like this, right?
It's really rare.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think there's
yeah.
any.
But I think it's because back then there was no internet. I think with social media now, it's so easy accessible, and it's really kind of shoved in your face. You can't really get away from it. It's everyone's talking about it. You go through, even news is talking about it. TikTok videos talking about it. It's everywhere.
Yes.
And I personally feel that it's getting pushed too much now, to the point where young kids who don't really know themselves, they're in an experimental phase, or they're just like a sponge, absorbing everything.
So
And
they're
we-
being suggested to
Yeah.
become a trans.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you want to be Superman? It's the same thing as that, but they're saying like, you're actually this, or you can actually be this if you want. And they're just, if you're watching reels every day and it's kind of saying these kind of stuff, you're gonna start believing it, right? Every kid will start feeling that, because they're too young, they don't know anything, they're just soaking every information there is. And I feel like we need to start adding a age gap of like when to introduce this and when not to introduce this. The reason why I say this is because both my cousins are trans.
Oh.
And then one of them actually started taking, he's in the transition phase where he's taking HRT?
How old are they? How old are your cousins?
One of them is in uni now. The other one's in high school. But they've been doing it a couple years already. So they're like, it's like really early. So this is the reason why I'm saying this, is because these procedures, I know this is very controversial, but the procedure, it's really hard to go back.
Oh.
And it really wrecks your body.
It's like permanent damage.
Yeah, it is. It's a permanent change.
Oh, sorry. Yes, change.
Yeah.
It's basically for
This guy,
Not damage.
damage.
Change.
It's a permanent change, and if you want to go reverse back, I don't even know if it's possible. Maybe there is, but then you're gonna have to like redo everything. I don't know. It's so complicated, and I feel like we're not at the point where we know exactly all the after effects yet, right?
I actually do have something to add to that, but keep going.
But no, like I think this is it. I think we have to add an age gap when start introducing this, not when they're too young, because when they're too young, they don't know themselves. In high school, we all try to fit in groups, right? We're all figuring ourselves out. Even in university, we're still figuring us out. That's why there's so many clubs. Everyone's trying new things until in your like mid-20s, late 20s. Then that's usually when people start to know what they're doing. Even then, some people don't even know what they want to do in their late 20s, even in their early 30s.
Late 30s.
So imagine introducing this when they're in elementary or in high school. That's too early, in my opinion.
I agree with that because these kids are still developing at this age.
Yes.
And when you change their body, like with hormones and stuff like that, like it's
not natural.
Detrimental to their body. Irreversible.
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing is irreversible.
Exactly.
If they decide that like they're taking hormones for multiple years and they decide like, oh, actually, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like damage has been done, you know?
Yeah. There's like a documentary about this whole thing, and they're saying the suicide rate it's not really talked about, but the suicide rate is actually quite high for people who actually went through this whole procedure, but then they ended up not liking it, or this is not actually what they wanted. And it's just the amount of toll it takes on your body with these chemicals. I won't say chemicals, but the procedure, hormones, all this stuff, it really messes you up mentally. And then people, they start taking their lives, and it's not actually like I think it needs to be talked about more.
I agree. There's a movie, documentary that I watched. It's called What is a Woman?
That is the one I was talking about. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
I watched it and I was like, man, this is like, it's exactly like you said. People are pushing this way too deep down our throats.
Yeah.
But they're pushing it really hard on us. And I think maybe we need to chill a little bit. Maybe this decision should be made.
Yeah, a bit later.
Influence of
social media.
No, I feel like you can't really hide information from children.
You can. I think it should be like sex ed, right?
But then even then, it's like they're gonna learn about it at a young age regardless. Let's say, for example, there's a transsexual that wants to be a teacher, and now they're your kid's elementary school teacher. They're probably gonna talk something about that.
But yeah,
you can't just hover over everything that your child learns.
That's a tough subject. I don't know much about that. Have a solution to that, but I think we should be saying less of like, oh yeah, you can be whatever you want.
Like you want to be
a girl?
Yeah,
you be a girl.
Yeah, you can be a girl, but like I think that's
let's try being a boy first.
No, I'll be like, oh, that's good. You can play dress up if you want.
Yes.
Play dress up.
We should let that happen.
Yeah, like
but
I think
cross dress.
Have you done dress up when you're young?
No, never.
No, I also
even
never.
like dress up as like a Superman or like Halloween and all that stuff. Like it's like Halloween.
Up, yeah.
It's like Halloween basically. Like
but all year round.
I want to be Power Rangers. They let them go through that Power Ranger phase or Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I was in the Yu-Gi-Oh. I didn't dress up as Yu-Gi-Oh, but I played Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But then after a certain phase, you're done. Right? It's the same thing. Let them go through that phase. And if they keep doing, let's say they do this for like years and years and years, I'm like, okay, they actually believe in it, then fine. But if they just do it for a couple months and then that's it, I don't think that's actually what they want. They just wanted to experience it for a little bit, but it's not really their thing.
Actually, I think you're right, because in Asia, like cross-dressing is like a thing. It has its own culture, right?
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of people that do that. But in North America, I don't think cross-dressing happens at all.
I think they do. Isn't there like shows?
Oh,
like drag shows.
Oh, but drag. I think drag's a thing.
Though. Like drag is like for shows specifically, but then even like outside of shows,
drag,
it's like just everyday life. Like you're
cross-dressing.
Yeah, and then you're just.
I think it happens in like Japan.
Yeah, it happens in Japan. It happens in Asia.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really happen in North America.
Because I've seen some here.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's just more rare because no one really does it because you really stand out.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when I see it, I'm like, oh, cool. You know.
Yeah.
There's nothing. For me, it's just nothing. But I know some people really focus on that one thing and be like, yeah, empowerment, which is great for you. But just don't.
Maybe leave the
know-
kids out of it.
Yeah, just leave the kids. Like, hey, if you're an adult and you feel like, hey, this is what I want to be, good for you, man. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy for you, actually.
But
I do care. I'm happy for you.
Devil's advocate again. You're saying you're forced. Well, the kid wants to transition, but then they have to live till they're like 21, 30 years old.
Yeah.
And then do it. That's like 30 years of torture for them, right?
Well, the thing is that, what do you mean torture?
Because
they can't be what they want.
Be what they want to be.
Well, maybe just avoid using hormones.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
until
just don't do hormones.
because they're still growing. I think.
You're still your brain is still developing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good to talk about the after effects, right? Like we talk about like drugs, the after effects so much, but never people really talk about the good stuff, right? Like what marijuana can do for you. I think now it's a lot more known, but for the longest time, just say marijuana is bad, right? But now it's actually getting better. I think it's the same with this whole procedure where people like want to change their bodies. They need to know. I think there's so much. They're pushing on the positive too much, where they're like, "Oh, it's good to change because you get to be who you want to be." It's about self-empowerment, but they don't ever talk about the bad stuff. It's like too much of the good stuff, but they don't talk about the bad stuff. And people who do transition over, they go through the bad stuff, but they kind of kept in the dark, right? It's really not spoken out. I think we need to kind of have more of a balance. Like, hey, if you want to go through this, just know that this might happen, and this is something you should consider, right? I think people need to implement that into whatever. If it's a program, just implement that. If it's a school teaching, do that.
A lot
as well.
of doctors do require their patients to sign whatever waiver and then decide for X amount of months to see if your commitment level, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to transition, like undo. But I guess in social media or whatever, they don't really talk about that. It's only in that one-on-one doctor
Yeah.
situation.
Right.
And I think it's a very delicate subject. If you say something is not in your favor, or you think, let's just say it's just against what you believe in, or you think something differently, people just go straight to be like, you're hating on everyone. You don't believe in what people want to be, just stuff like that. People start hating on you really quick and start judging you really quick. Like, I think all of us here, we do encourage, like, hey, if it makes you happy, go for it. But I think it's all about making sure that you're doing it in a safe way. It's like having sex, right? You don't want to have babies. You don't want to have AIDS. That's why you wear a condom. That's what we tell you. Yeah, sex is great, but you don't want to get sex with STDs
are
not so great, right?
Not so great.
Yeah, some of it is not even curable. And I think as long as you let them know that these are the risks you're taking, I think that's the better approach. I think people are just so scared of like the fear sometimes, and then fear of getting judged. If you think differently, people just keep quiet all the time. But I think we do have to speak out on this. Hey, if you want to be whatever you want, I'm gonna say this again. If you want to be whatever you want, I'm super happy for you.
Just don't compete in the sports.
Sports, I think, for everyone to feel fairness, I think they have to create another division for.
Who's funding that?
It's the school needs to figure it out.
That's a tough question to answer.
The
But
school needs to figure it out. I know that's another bigger problem. But the thing is that it's just a bit unfair for people who train so hard, and they all of a sudden someone's just naturally better due to genetics.
And they didn't train at all.
And
They just woke up to step on the track.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they train somewhat, but just biologically, they have a huge advantage. It's just not really fair, right? Yeah, that's why in boxing, even in MMA, they have weight class.
Oh, right. Yeah,
This is the reason
yeah.
why they have weight class, to make it more fair. So I think fairness is key. I think everyone wants to be treated equally. I think that's very important, but also fairness. All right. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I love trans people.
I too love trans people.
We all love
Trans people. My cousins are trans, two of them, and hey, I love them. They're like the best people ever. It's just that,
when it comes to competition, it's like it's not about like hating them or whatnot. We're just talking about fairness.
Yeah, we're just talking about fairness. That's it. Like, just, and then with the whole social media thing, I think they just need to stop like shoving it down people's throat. Hey, that's fair. Yeah, because I think it's a little bit too much. I got really quiet there.
Yeah, now you're gonna get canceled.
Okay. No, I love everyone.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Give us a like.
Yeah, give us a like. Give us a
Subscribe.
thumbs up. Subscribe.
Notification. Don't cancel us. All right. Follow all our socials. We're on Spotify, YouTube, IG. Everything is in the description below. You'll find it in the link tree. Put in the comments, what do you think is the right approach when it comes to like, do you think it's fair for
Trans to compete in sports?
And if they win, like, is that fair? Do they need their own division? Do you think that social media right now is shoving it too much in our face where they have to dial a bit back down? Like, what is your solution to this? There's really no solution, but there's always a better way to do things.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
So please share.
Like, you can tell we were really trying to be very careful with this without triggering
tiptoeing
people.
around the topic.
Yeah, but it's a tough topic. Just don't cancel us, man.
Please don't cancel us. And we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, bye.
Bye. Oh, God.